You know how Netflix just knows what show you're going to binge watch next? Well, that all comes down to analyzing just massive amounts of data. And that kind of power, it used to be something only the biggest companies in the world could even dream of. Today, we're talking about the service that completely flipped the script, Amazon Redshift. To really get why Redshift was such a big deal, we kind of have to turn back the clock a bit. Before the cloud was a thing, if you wanted to analyze huge data sets, you had to build your own data center. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars in hardware, crazy expensive software, and a whole team of experts just to keep the lights on. It was a club for giants, and pretty much everyone else was left out in the cold.
So let's just paint a picture of that old world of analytics. It was a landscape just filled with these massive roadblocks, and it created this huge divide between the companies that had data power and those that didn't.
And here's the heart of the problem, right? On one side, you've got this slow, incredibly expensive and rigid world of traditional data warehousing. On the other side, you have the promise of the cloud, analytics that are fast, affordable, and can grow with you. The gap between those two, it was massive. The whole industry was just waiting for something to come along and build a bridge.
And that bridge, it finally showed up, and it came from what was at the time a pretty unlikely place. So let's get into the origin story of the service that would become Amazon Redshift.
What's so fascinating is that Redshift wasn't actually built from scratch. In a really smart move, Amazon went out and found the best tech they could, the super powerful engine from a company called Paraxel, and they licensed it. Then they did what they do best. They wove it right into their cloud platform, handling all the messy, complex stuff like setup and scaling. That was the genius of the AWS approach.
And the year this all kicked off, 2012. You gotta circle that date on your mental calendar. This wasn't just another product launch. It was basically the starting pistol for the entire cloud data warehousing race.
So when it launched, Redshift became the first real cloud-native data warehouse that basically any developer could spin up with just a credit card and a few clicks. All of a sudden, high-performance analytics wasn't a million-dollar project anymore. It was a utility, something you could just pay for by the hour. And man, it took off like a rocket.
So how did they pull it off? How did it get this incredible speed and efficiency? All right, let's pop the hood and take a look at Redshift's core architecture. This is the real secret sauce.
It really boils down to a combination of four kind of brilliant ideas. We're going to walk through each one: how it stores data, how it processes queries, how it saves space, and, crucially, how it speaks a language everyone already knew. Together, these things created an absolute analytics powerhouse.
Okay, first up, columnar storage. Think of a normal database like a giant spreadsheet. If you want to get the total of just one column, the database has to read through every single row. It's so inefficient. Redshift completely flips out on its head. It stores data in columns. So if you only need to analyze sales figures, it reads only the sales column. This makes queries ridiculously faster.
Next, you combine that with something called massively parallel processing, or MPP. Instead of having one giant computer chugging away on some complex problem, Redshift uses a divide-and-conquer strategy. It splits the work across a whole fleet of computers, or nodes, that all tackle the problem at the same time, in parallel. This is the secret to turning hours of waiting into just minutes.
Then you've got data compression. Redshift uses these really clever algorithms to shrink the data on the disk, and this is a brilliant two-for-one deal. First, you save a ton of money on storage, and your queries actually get faster because there's physically less data to read from the disk. I mean, it's a total win-win.
And finally, and honestly, this might be the most practical advantage of them all, Redshift is SQL compatible. It speaks the language that data analysts and engineers have been using for decades. This meant there was no huge learning curve. Companies could just plug in their existing tools, and their teams could get to work on day one. It just wiped out a massive barrier to getting started.
But here's the thing. A great tool is only as good as the ecosystem it lives in, and this is where Redshift's real power gets unlocked. Its deep integration with the whole suite of AWS services.
You can just see how seamlessly all these pieces fit together. Your raw data can live in S3. AWS Glue comes in to clean it up and get it ready for Redshift, and then Amazon QuickSight lets you build beautiful dashboards to see the results. You can even do crazy stuff like query data directly in S3 using a feature called Spectrum, kind of blurring the lines between your warehouse and your data lake. It's a complete end-to-end analytics factory, all under one roof.
So when you put all this together, what is Redshift's real, enduring legacy? It's not just about being faster or cheaper. No. This one service fundamentally rewired the entire data industry.
It's actually this simple. Redshift democratized data warehousing. It just smashed open the gates of a walled garden. It took a power that was once reserved for an elite few and, well, it gave it to everyone.
And this created this incredible ripple effect across the whole industry. Suddenly, high-performance analytics were affordable. Startups could now use data to compete with giant corporations. And ultimately, you could argue that Redshift really paved the way for the entire modern cloud data ecosystem that we have today.
So Redshift completely rewrote the rules for data analytics. But, technology never, ever stands still. The amount of data we're creating is just exploding at a rate that's hard to even wrap your head around. And that leaves us with one final, really important question. What's going to be the next game changer?